Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the City of Southport Community Relations update and lesson on who we are. We're excited to kind of give you an update, exactly what we do, who we are, and how we like to say we're the Quality of Life Department for the City of Southport. But before we begin, I have first of all, a question for everybody. I'd like to see how long everyone's been here. So, who's been here less than a year? Quality over quantity, that's what I'll say. How about less than 5 years? I like this crowd. How about less than 10 years, 5 to 10? Excellent. 10 to 15. Nice. How about 20 to 25? Excellent. Anybody over 25? A long time. So, how long have you been here? 25 years and 6 months. And not like you're counting. How about you, Miss Pat? 27 years. And if I told you how long I've been here, I'd have to kill you. But I do want to welcome everybody. And one of the fun things here is we wanted to take a moment and kind of do a little icebreaker. And everyone had on your chair a little quiz. And with that is our street names in Southport. We know we drive them. And the fun part right now, because of traffic, you got a long time to learn exactly which street we are on. So has everyone had a chance to go through it and complete it to your best of your ability? So what we're going to do is, before I do anything, I want to say my name is Randy Jones. I am the director of the department.
I'm Elena Dale, Assistant Director of Community Relations.
And I am Cheyenne Ketchum. I am Communications and the Public Information Officer for the city.
Excellent. So what I'd like to do now is go through the answers to this quiz. The first one once was named Potts. We all know Joshua Potts was the commissioner who first came up with the idea to actually build a town around Fort Johnston. The answer to that is Atlantic. And that one was very intriguing because I've been looking over the last couple of days trying to figure out exactly when the name change happened and why. And what I think it was the early 1800s because of the Atlantic and Northern Railroad. And what I'll do for extra credit, if anyone has that answer, please let me know, or feel free, my business cards are available. Call me if you can find out, because that's been a very interesting little journey. That's one thing about Southport. We always find our history. You really have to dig a little bit and find out exactly what it is.
Okay, so number 2, this road was named after a prominent Brunswick town politician. It's Moore Street.
Alrighty, and number 3, this one was named after a Revolutionary War hero and father of one of the original commissioners. And that, my friends, is Howe Street, which I know it's a little difficult to find Howe Street, right through the middle of town, but that's that one.
Excellent. Number 4 was a past city manager, Rob Gandy Boulevard. He was city manager from 1993 to 2008, and he actually came back in 2013 as an interim. But I like to say he was the man that gave me my job as the tourism director in 2000, so he has a special place in my heart.
Okay, and then this one's one that I'm sure most of you got. This street was named after a local author, and it is Robert Ruark.
And last but not least, the tax collector of the Port of Brunswick is Dry Street.
Excellent. So, who got them all? I have 2 that got them all. I'm very impressed. So, as a congratulations, you each will get a City of Southport license plate. So before you head out today, make sure you grab them. We always, do your Vanna. Excellent. So just wanted to take, always like to take advantage of everybody kind of learning a little bit today, not only about us, but about the town. So again, I want to welcome everybody. Our goal today is really to kind of bring to life exactly what our Community Relations Department is and how we are here for you. We are only as good as what we hear from our community and what we can do to help you. So part of, as the director today, I want to kind of do an overview of each of the parts of our department that we represent, and then my coworkers, my team will kind of go in depth of what they do to really bring it to life. Because as anyone would know as a manager, I do a lot of things like this, but I'm only as good as the team that I have behind me. So when we get down into it today, you'll hear where the real work comes from. But I wanted to take a moment to not only talk about the history of the department, but a little bit about myself. I'm a native of Southport. This was my playground growing up. I was able to play on our waterfront, really get to see Southport through the years to what it is today. I went to school at Chapel Hill, and as you know, with a lot of young people, the first thing they want to do is leave what they know. So I took my time at school and decided it was in entertainment business, so I went and decided to see the world. I lived in Hawaii, New York, Atlanta, traveled to Australia for a while, Japan, LA, did a lot of work within the entertainment business, but also in the retail food and beverage. You have, and anyone that's in the film business knows you never job security, you always had to have a backup plan. So I did that for many years until I actually returned to Southport in 1997 to work on I Know What You Did Last Summer. I ran the production office here, and that's kind of where I connected with the officials in the city of Southport. As you'll learn a little bit as we talk about the filming, we have a lot of interaction from the production company and the town. That's what makes it successful. So it was through those relationships that I was asked afterwards to work with the city to oversee the production summer catch to kind of help the city make sure that everything was taken care of. It was a volunteer situation, but it was fun. I was working on some other things and decided, it would be a good way for me to re-network into the film industry. So I was doing that when in 2000, the city had been given a visitor center from a nonprofit group that is located where the Indian Trail Meeting Hall. It was Southport 2000, and they had actually done their job. They had gotten us into 2000, revitalized the town, and opened this visitor center. So they were handing that over to the city, and at the same time, the community building was reopening after a fire. It had been rebuilt. So they were putting together the first tourism department. They were kind of umbrellaing all that under one. And in the end of 2000, they offered me the job, and I became the first tourism director for the city of Southport. And as I said, the visitor center was located at the Indian Trail Meeting Hall, and we worked out of there with everything from the events going on in town to working with all our nonprofits to coming in here as the community building and setting up policies and procedures and really making this building available for events and for city use. So I was in the early days of those, and I stayed here through 2010 in my first stint, and left here to work for the town of Hendersonville and for Downtown Raleigh Alliance, working with the mayor's office. Did everything from their tree lighting to the ice rink downtown. So I really branched out, but I also got to a point in my life where I had family here that I wanted to be close to. I had elderly parents that I needed to be here. So I came back to the area and was a board member over at Old Baldy, and we had some issues that I needed to go over and help there. And in 2016, they invited me to come back here. So I've been back since 2016, and during that time that I was gone, a lot of great things happened. Number one, we were able to take the Fort Johnston that we had been given in 2006 from the federal government and turn that into the Fort Johnston Museum and Visitor Center. So I came back to a wonderful gift. I think that is the jewel in the town. I think we've got anyone that comes in there not only realizes just the foundation this town is built from, because as you say with Potts, he came here because of Fort Johnston, and look where we are now. So I know what it reflects, and we've been very lucky to see that grow. One of the things with Fort Johnston is the Southport Historical Society houses their office in there. So we're multifunctional. And I'll let Elena talk a little bit about what Fort Johnston offers and what that's like there. But that's been one of the things I'm most proud of, is to watch that grow. From there, I would say that the next big thing was coming back in 2019. During the time I was gone, the community building was under a different department, and in 2019-20, it came back under my department. So we have been working to do a lot with the building, and again, I want Elena to take some time and explain what she's been able to do with it since we've had it back. And something as basic as the brand new floors you're walking on right now. We just had those put it back in January, so I think this is another crown jewel in the town if you realize just how much we use it. And the amount of feet that are on these floors, you would realize it's one of the most used buildings in town. Just trying to think of some other fun things. One of the biggest things I want to talk about is our events. That's one of the things I'm most proud of, is what we do as a department. This is where I want to say our quality of life as a department comes out, because we work very closely with our nonprofits to bring these events into town. We work with everything from, a couple of examples would be, just this weekend, I did an event for the 10th anniversary of Safe Haven. It was, first of all, I can't believe it's been 10 years since that movie came out. But we were able to do an event where we brought in a tour with Mimi Kirkland, which was the little girl in the movie, and Brooke Barnhill, which was the location manager. And then we were able to show the movie on the lawn. But what was amazing was something that was very organic and just was put together to see if the community wanted it. We had 250 plus people on our 2 tours. We had over 750 people in the visitor center that day. And we had 100 plus people watching the movie on the lawn. So there's a real buy-in from our community on when we do things. So we appreciate that. We do it for you, and we always want input. But again, when I look through the calendar of events of what we do and what we help with, our goal from our department is to work with all these nonprofits and sit at every table for every event that happens in this town. If it's the Wooden Boat Show, if it's Spring Festival, if it is the music in the park that we do, if it's the summer market, the list goes on. You don't really realize exactly what we do until I bring out a list of everything that we're involved in. Because one of the things we do is we work multi-leveled. We not only offer our real estate, we offer the expertise of my coworkers, myself, to kind of help each of these groups not have to reinvent the wheel every time they're putting an event together. We've sat at all these tables. We've kind of have a rhythm to it, and that's what we like to offer. We like to be those, and we're also the person that, and the ones that kind of help meet the needs that you need from the city. If it's working with the police department, if it's working with fire, public works, we like to kind of help facilitate that. We're the ones that are really kind of the liaison when it comes to all these events. We've got so many things that we bring to that table, because I think this department is all about the passion that we feed off of our groups. We can see it when we work with them. We understand what they're trying to, do with their fellow community members. So we're very pleased to sit at those tables. We hope we're helpful. And I know, I always say my philosophy from day one doing this job was, I do it for the locals and the tourists will come. Because that is probably one of the things that I've learned from, I always joke, as I said, I'm a native of Southport, and we normally have a family Sunday dinner. So when I go to those dinners, I usually have family members critiquing everything that we do in town. So I always tell them, look, I do it for you, and it's all about doing a quality event that everybody wants to come to. So we do it organically for the residents, and it ends up becoming a tourist event. And that kind of leads to why you'll see the evolution of our department from tourism to community relations. Because when I started, we really were heavy on tourism. That was kind of the umbrella they had us under. But I, for many years, felt we were more than that, because I always said it's about the community. So in last year in July, when we were doing our new budget, I asked that we change our department name to Community Relations because of the growth. And our powers that be agreed. So we are officially the Department of Community Relations, because I think that better defines who we are and kind of encompasses the quality of work that I believe comes out of this department. And so from an event standpoint, again, we like to do things like Winterfest, the mayor's tree lighting. All those things are a big part of our involvement with the community, where I'm able and my coworkers are able to interact with the public. Because again, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's very important, the feedback that we get back from the community. It's not worth doing if it's not what you want. So we are only as powerful as the messages we get back. And that's going to be more, as you learned today, the opportunities that you have to interact with us, to send us information, tell us what you want, and that's probably one of the biggest things we've worked on for years to improve. And that leads to the communications part, which I'm very, I would say that was probably the most interesting journey for me, because when I was here the first time, it really wasn't a big part of what we did in my department. I would do press releases on events. I would be very event-oriented. When I came back in 2016, the department had taken over the website. So that was kind of where I was from what we were required to do. Well, that all changed with Hurricane Florence. I'll never forget being in emergency operations, and my job was to get all of our information out on the website. That's what I would do. If there was stuff going on, I'd send it out on our website. Well, I'll never forget my city manager at the time, who was the public information officer for the town, coming up to me in the middle of the hurricane and saying, "There's a newspaper in Charlotte saying that we're practically destroyed. You need to let them know we're not." And I looked at him and I went, I can basically call the travel person I know there and let them know what's going on, but I really don't know who to talk to. So, but I will take care of that moving forward. So that's kind of where this started. It was, we had to fill a void. We realized that communication to the public was bigger than what we had at the time. And I guess website led to where it ended up. But I would also say another big part of what changed everything for us was the pandemic. We as a department realized we had to do a couple of things. We had to do everything to keep everybody active in the community, knowing we were here and that we were still vibrant and reflecting all of our events that couldn't be public, but still give a chance for people to know. So we did a whole virtual year and a half of everything from a car show to featuring our merchants to, we actually became a virtual department for almost a year and a half. But from that also led to the idea that we had to make accessibility for city meetings because people couldn't come to them. So we had to develop how to film and make all these meetings available. So it was a learning process for all of us, from everything from buying the equipment, learning about the equipment, and then growing the equipment. We're on our second incarnation right now of what we use to film and make our live stream available to everybody. So it was a situation out of necessity. I want to say has turned into one of the things that I'm most proud of, because we are probably, for a town this size, make what we do most available. And that's something that most towns don't have, and we're working very hard to do that and improve that. So, you know, it's a lesson, but we're getting there. And I think it's got nowhere to go but up. And then a couple other things we work on, and you can see up there is a liaison for filming. This weekend definitely showed the interest of our filming and the buy-in from the community, because that's what it takes. We have an ordinance that protects the town during filming to not only make sure that those rules and regulations are all about, as I say, protecting the town, the citizens, the businesses, but it also has a fee schedule that makes sure that we are, making sure that everything's covered. So it's a very policy and procedural driven situation for filming, and my department works as the liaison for that. An example is when a movie company, TV, wants to come into town, they start with my office. I go over the ordinance, fees, and then start with meetings from all the appropriate departments, because they can't do anything without police, fire, public works. We start those meetings and oversee it and get the contract signed and approved. And then during the filming, I'm kind of like the enforcer to make sure those rules and regulations are followed, because the thing that makes Southport very special with filming, which is everything you see here, which means in most cases they're outside. It's all about the location, and that always becomes a challenge. So I always tell a production company, if they're following the rules, they'll never see me. They don't want to see me because I'm all about protecting the town when it comes to our filming. But from a standpoint of what it means once they've done the filming and it goes out there, it's amazing how that leads into a buy-in from everyone wanting to come here 10 years later and see the postcard that was Safe Haven. So we want to encourage that. We work very one-on-one with the film companies, and we are all about highlighting Southport, and it's amazing to me that 25 years later from Dawson's Creek, we still have people from other countries coming here wanting to see those locations. So our filming has been a major, I always say it's a postcard, so our office is very open to that. Next thing is a liaison is Downtown Southport, Inc. I worked early on with the Main Street Group in 2005 to put together Downtown Southport, Inc., which is our downtown group to highlight our businesses and to work on events. I sit on their board as a non-voting member to kind of work as the city ears and eyes and make sure that they have everything they need to show the support of the city. So it's been amazing over the last 17 years to see how that's grown and exactly what they've done. And this is the group that does the summer market, the Winterfest market. They've done the Wayfair signs you see in town, the planter boxes. And I looked at a list today because we're working on their budget right now, and they have given back to the community in the last 17 years almost $400,000 in things back to the community. So I'm very happy to work on that committee because I think it's a situation where they have the board members on there have a true love for Southport and all volunteer. And in fact, I have one of the board members here today, and I think she could attest for the fact that this group is a real gem to Southport. So thank you for all you do with that. And last but not least, as a liaison, I am on the beautification committee. And I have the chair of that with me now, Lynn Guyman. And that is a committee that I always say it's a boots on the ground. They're the ones that actually every Saturday, first Saturday of the month, they meet and they do everything from plantings throughout the town. They are responsible for painting all the benches, keeping our parks up in that aspect of helping to support the city. And they are really big in helping to get all the Christmas decorations out. So they're one of the groups that I work with every month where we're physically on the ground getting our hands dirty. So I'm very impressed with that group because they work very hard, very unselfishly giving of their time, and they're on their knees with dirts in their hands. So I just think that's the prime example of just what this community can do. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I do. And before I go on to the other girls, are there any questions from the floor of me? I hope that just means I covered everything and you're still awake. Next, I'd like to introduce Elena.
Hi. So as I said earlier, I'm Elena Dale, Assistant Director of Community Relations, but when I started in July of 2021, I was not Assistant Director. At that time, I was hired to run the community building primarily. That was about 50% of my position. The other 25% was under tourism, and then another 25% of communications. At the time, the current assistant director had gone down to part-time because she was slowly heading towards retirement. And when she left, I absorbed her position and kept some of the other roles that I had already been doing. So I handle the fun stuff of our department. I handle a lot of the events. I also run the City of Southport newsletter. Southport event marketing, so that would be like when a nonprofit wants to create fun materials to get the word out there about a specific event, but maybe they don't have someone on their committee who is marketing driven or have a marketing mind. I can make those promotional materials for those nonprofits, and then we put them out through the city. I turn them over to them to then put out on their social media channels and things like that. I'm also the manager of the Fort Johnston Visitor Center and Museum, which Randy mentioned earlier. So what that means is that I schedule the volunteers to come in and meet with the public. So every time the museum doors are open, we have people from the community, just like you guys, who meet and greet our visitors to then answer any questions, whether it be about the history of the area or just what restaurant to visit. We are also currently in the middle of looking at some of our displays and exhibits in the museum, trying to get those updated with current information, but also some new information. So stay tuned for that. I am still currently the manager of the Southport Community Building. So that means that I do everything from walkthroughs for weddings and events. I do the contracting, and I also schedule and manage my part-time people to come and help me run this building. I could not do it without the part-time employees for sure. So we have 2 facilitators on staff and 2 cleaning staff who are with us today. And they do an amazing job. I also do the Indian Trail Meeting Hall scheduling. If you all don't know, the Indian Trail Meeting Hall is a meeting hall specifically meant for city and nonprofit events. So it's really an amazing location because if you're a nonprofit and you need somewhere to meet monthly, you may not want to do it in your home, or you may not have another area to be able to do so. So the city actually offers a place for that, which is really special because not every city has that available. And then my newest role, so the NC 4th of July Festival is a separate 501c4 C6 nonprofit that as of, what month did we officially take it over? September. As of September, the city is now administering the festival. So what that means is that I sit on the board as a non-voting person, and I essentially help them handle the administrative tasks. So I help with their website, I help with their Facebook page, I help schedule meetings, I help some of the behind-the-scenes scheduling specific events for the festival, as well as taking in financial information on behalf of the nonprofit. So things like the arts and crafts vendors or the food vendors for that festival have all been coming through me as the administrator. And so that has been a very interesting new part of the position, and it's very hands-on, and I enjoy it very much. That, in a nutshell, is everything that I do.
Let me just say that may sound, it's always interesting to hear someone kind of explain their job. It is amazing to actually know what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
One thing about our job, especially with the many hats that Elena wears, you never know. We can have a plan in the morning, and by midday, with the phone calls and the questions and the needs within the community, it totally takes a turn. So again, I'm very lucky within my team to have people that are able to pivot on a dime And that is one thing we know we run into a lot.
Yeah.
And anything you'd like to add?
One of the things that I've been working on in the position, as I have the ability to, is we have a lot of promotional materials that are made through our department that's available at the Fort Johnson Visitor Center. One of my most recent updates is the Southport on Film brochure, and that came out of the enjoyment of the community with wondering what films were filmed here recently. So not just the top ones that everybody knows about, but what's the new stuff coming out. And so the new brochure that I have just recently created has us all the way up to date through the summer I Turned Pretty, but we also have a online version of that called Southport on Film, where my plan is to, as new releases happen, I will be updating that page so people can find out more about what was just released.
Perfect. Well, Cheyenne, would you like to take over?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Can you come up to the podium? So.
Now, are you sure you're only one person? I am only one person.
Mm-hmm.
So while there is a fee for the community building, there is not for Indian Trail. So Indian Trail is a free building as long as you are a nonprofit or city entity.
Alrighty. So my name is Cheyenne Ketchum. Like I said earlier, I am communications / the public information officer for the city. I moved to Southport in June of 2022. And that is also about when I started. So I moved here on June 18th, and I started on June 20th. And we have been full steam ahead the whole time. And it's been fantastic. I have a Bachelor in Arts in English education. And so it's like, oh, you were supposed to be a teacher? Why are you here? Well, what had happened was I decided I didn't want to teach anymore. I completed my student teaching and was very gracious for the school that I student taught at, and was even more gracious to leave. So after that, I was like, I'm looking more for helping people externally, using communications and marketing as a way to get information out to them. And so I went and did a graduate certificate of professional communication over at East Carolina University. And more recently, coming soon, 2 months from today, I will graduate from UNCW with a Master of Arts in Integrated Marketing Communication. So I'm super excited for that. So if you see my head spinning over the next 7 weeks, that is why. I have previous experience in the private sector in education for colleges and universities, and then county level local government experience. But this is this is the sweet spot. This is what I've gone to school for 25 years to do, and I'm super excited to be here. I am a FEMA certified public information officer, so I have the basic level complete. I went and did that in Morehead City this past July, and I'm looking forward to soon doing the advanced and master public information officer courses over the next, that's in my 2 to 5 year plan, because that master PIO class is pretty intense. So part of my duties are I do a lot of the website back up a little bit. So Elena said she does the fun stuff. I do the business stuff. So if you throw it back to the 70s-ish, so if you think of a mullet, I am the business in the front, Elena's the party in the back. So I do a lot of the website updates that y'all see. So our assistant city manager, city clerk, Dory Dutton, will send public notices over to me. I'll send them out to the or get them on the website, send them out on social media, post the newsletter links that Elena creates. So those Southport Connected or Code Red messages that you get on the first of every month, those come from me. Adding events to the calendar, not the fun events, but meetings. So the regular meetings that get posted by all of our various committees, boards, city meetings, any special meetings that come up that we pull from those public notices, doing that fun stuff. and sending out or pulling all of that together, all of those updates, and I send out a daily communication to our city staff members so that way they are up to date and abreast of the information that has gone on the website, because on any given day we can have one update or we can have 12 updates and like a news brief or anything like that. So it's we're constantly moving, which is good. I'm never bored, which is fantastic because I can't sit still, as you can tell. I also do a lot of the video production currently for our meetings. So our live streams that you see on Facebook and YouTube, the little promotional or commercial type videos that have come out since June of last year, I was able to go and film those, edit them, add the text, the background music, enhance the voices, all of that super fun stuff. But here shortly, I will have some assistance with that, so that's fun. She's in the back, that's why I'm looking at her. But doing the different things that we live stream right now are the regular agenda and any public special meetings for the Board of Aldermen, and then regular and any public special meetings for the Planning Board. So this Thursday at 6 p.m., if you have nothing to do, you can come hang out with me. I'll be in here, back there. We also do the mayor's community updates. So whenever he, right now we're looking at quarterly, whenever he goes out into the community and gives y'all a update for what we've got going on, what's happened, what's about to happen, what's currently happening, all of that fun stuff. So going and filming him in various places around the city, mashing that all together and getting a cute little reel for you guys that's not too long, but still super informative. I also do the social media management in conjunction with Elena. So we both monitor those. Again, like if it's events or more like fun things, for lack of a better word, that's in her wheelhouse, and then more of the business related transactions, that's not really the word I'm looking for, but communications in that regard will go through me. We even have a really cool shared email inbox that we flag with each other's favorite color, so that way we know like this is for you, this is for me, and that way it keeps us organized as well. I mentioned earlier very briefly the emergency or urgent alert notifications. So we do have Southport Connected, which is launched through Code Red. If you are not a part of that, I highly suggest it. If you want to grab me afterwards, I can walk you through that process. The one thing that you are guaranteed to get every month on Code Red is on the 1st at 10 a.m., the newsletter. So Elena works really hard to pull all of that information from our city partners, our community partners, our nonprofit partners. She puts together an event calendar and really dives deep. It's super meaty, but it's so informative. So that's always sent out, and hopefully that's the only time that you'll hear from me via Code Red, because otherwise that means that we've got something going on that I need to get out to you ASAP. So those are text message and email alerts, and we try very hard not to bog anybody down. So again, the 1st of the month is your guaranteed one, and then anything after that, just pay close attention to it. We also do hurricane updates, or I do hurricane updates through my role. So thankfully this past season, we just dealt with very low-key hurricane / tropical storm Ian, but in conjunction with our incident commander, which is Fire Chief Drew from the fire department, we work to get those EOC updates out as often as he gets them out. So anywhere from about every 4 hours, we're able to produce those updates. We get them out on social media, we update the page on the website, and we send out any severe updates or pertinent, like super important, I guess, updates through Code Red if necessary. But again, try not to bog any messaging down, so that way it keeps y'all checking your phone and you're like, oh, I got a message from Southport, let me make sure that everything is okay. And then I am also the media and press contact. So press releases that go out that get sent in from various city departments, from City Manager Theron, she's there in the back, or any of our nonprofit partners. I have a list of 10 media contacts that I stay in pretty consistent contact with to make sure that, one, we stay friendly with each other, but also, two, to make sure that the information that we're sending out to them gets run. So that way it's keeping our community supporters, our visitors who love the area, keeps them updated on media outlets that aren't just the website or social media. So that is a little bit of what I do. What questions, if any, do y'all have of me? Yes. Is that all? Well, like Randy and Elena said, every day we can go in and we have our morning meeting, and every day we have a plan, but it's easy to change. But like I said, we're never bored.
So something else that we wanted to touch on today while we had you all here is we have undertaken a website survey, which is currently up on our website, or you can scan the little scan code there to go ahead and give your feedback. And that is because roughly a year ago, we did a complete website refresh. We completely changed the website from the way that it was to the way that it is now. Now that it's been about a year, we are looking for the community to give us feedback on the things they like, the things they don't like so much, and the things that they wish they could see. I have also included the newsletter in that survey, so if you are a regular reader of the newsletter but would like to see different things, or maybe have suggestions for me, that would be fantastic as well.
Excellent. So now you see what a great team I work with, and I could not do it without them. They truly make it a pleasure to come into work every day. We do have fun. One of the things I want to talk a little bit about is what's next for us. One of the things we're working on, what we're hoping to do. Number one, Elena mentioned it, that we will have a new employee very soon coming in as our community building administrator and filming support. We realize this building has such growth potential. It needs to have someone that focuses specifically on it, but at the same time, we're filming more and more, and a lot of those are happening here and at the Indian Trail Meeting Hall, so this person will be trained to take care of that also. And they are going through the paperwork stage right now, but she is in the back, Sydney Hill, which I am excited to say very soon she'll be a part of our team. And also from a growth standpoint, we're just looking at working with our nonprofits more and more. I was able last year to take a course through Duke University with their nonprofit leadership program. So I'm a certified nonprofit leader now, and I really want to take that moving forward within the city nonprofits and work hand in hand to help make them stronger. And I think we're going to do a lot more events with them of educational nature, kind of talking to them about how to grow their boards, how to work fundraising, a lot of those things where we know the stronger they are, the stronger the city is, and the better the quality of life is for Southport. So that's one of my goals moving forward. And I know from a standpoint Elena talked about with the museum, we don't ever want to be stagnant. We really want to be a situation that we're constantly growing and reviewing. So we're spending time right now really kind of taking a step back and looking at everything, making sure it's current, making sure because one thing about our museum, it's all about the amount of space we have. So I want to make sure that everything that's in there is getting a good return on a visitor's overview of it. So we're really taking time to really interact with the visitors and make sure that's what they want. So it's all about the growth that we learn from our community, our visitors, and again, we're a department that is only as good as the community is to us. The more you communicate with us, the more we communicate with you. So we ask, we have an open door policy. We have, I know for myself, I'm practically at every event. I hope I'm approachable. Everybody knows they're welcome to come and, give me ideas, give us ideas. We want to hear from you. The whole purpose of our department is to make sure that the city of Southport is representing the citizens. And that is, at the end of the day, the goal. So I think we're doing a good job on that, because I know when I talk to people in the community, they tell me that at the end of the day, they could not think of a better place to live than Southport. And I think that's because of the community that's engaged and a community that we, the city, are a part of. So I want to open this up to you to tell us your thoughts. If you have questions, this is a good starting point about that communications. What can we do for you? Yes.
I can't say this eloquently enough.
Okay.
But you are the face of Southport, and your approachability and your enthusiasm about this city that you live in and work in is what makes us shine.
Oh, well, that's thank you. I appreciate that. I always say Southport's in my blood, because it is. And I thrive off the citizens. I enjoy what I do. I see what we do. And one thing about this department I haven't said, it's kind of funny. As a city, we have multiple departments. We're not public works where you call because there's sewers not working and, something's wrong, or you're going down because of your electric bill. I'm the happy department. So I'm lucky. I get to see y'all at great fun things. So it's an advantage, and it's an advantage I don't take for granted, because I enjoy it just as much as I hope you do. Because I'm proud of Southport, and I'm proud of the citizens that make Southport what it is. So thank you.
I'm going to add to that as a newcomer, that a lot of Southport is how people feel here when they come to town, interaction with folks, and the nonprofit, meaning the volunteerism, that really is about that collective feeling of pride and worth. And I don't know how you can measure in any type of evaluation how people feel, but I can say as a comparative, the absence of your department would be woefully different for the state, for the city, in the sense of how people felt. Because you're supporting in those in-between areas that no nonprofit has the funds to really scope and produce their own publications and to get that word out and keep that presence going. And so to have the wagon hub, the wheel hub, being able to do that, it is truly support of all the good work that we see, of all the volunteers, especially of the city, that are not on payroll.
Well, thank you. And that's a great point. I want to reiterate that we could not do what we do without the volunteers. I mean, it really, the quality of life that I see on a daily basis is touched by the volunteer hours that people put in by choice to come in and help make Southport what it is. And that's what I know personally I thrive off of, because when I'm doing what I can next to one of the volunteers when we're doing one of our cleanups on a Saturday, I have to up my game, because they're there working very hard. They're doing things that I'm like, it's Saturday morning, and wow, they're up at the crack of dawn digging and painting and doing all these things but I think it's because of the pride they feel in the town. And I always like to say it's also the fact that they can drive by and see what they touched. You know, we're a touch me, feel me town, and it's the kind of situation when you go by and you see what you've helped do. That's the pride that I want everyone to have in this town, because they've been a part of it. And I hope that's, at the end of the day, what our department facilitates.
And creating transparency for good government work, that you can live in a city that has great government, but if you never hear about it, or you don't know what they've accomplished, or you don't get events or input, you really don't know as a town how to be proud of your city operations. And I think the presence of your office is also a huge benefit to the city.
Oh, thank you.
City where people want to move to.
Yeah, Marty's going to be a neighbor of mine, so I'm excited to have it.
We take a lot of pride in being able to do the live streams and do the videos, and also creating the Southport Symposium, so that way y'all can come and ask those questions and interact on a much more personal basis with the folks who are representing the individual departments. So that way, you know, I always say face to a name, but face to a department or face to a project is super important. We are a small city. We are a very intimate city, so it's hard to walk. I've been here for 9 months now, and I can now bring my dog into town, and I will pass somebody that I walk or that I know, and I live off of Long Beach Road, so I'm not even in city limits. But as personable as everybody in the city is, we like to make sure that that is felt through the government transparency, just like you said, which also segues me to remind you all, because I forgot a second ago, April 17th, in here again at 2 p.m. will be our next symposium with Development Services.
That's why I have such a good team, because that was on my next thing on the list to do. They're always one step ahead of me. Again, thank you for those comments. Bonnie, would you like to add anything? As she walks up, this is our city manager, Bonnie Theron, who we're so happy to have on here for the next 14 months.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. Just a couple things. Cheyenne and Elena and Randy didn't take enough credit. I come in and I go, oh, I really want to do like a Citizens Academy. And Cheyenne jumps in with, oh, that's interesting you said that, because I've been looking at Leland's. And I went, well, let's see if we can make this happen. And these three made it happen very quickly I didn't really give them a lot of input. I just said, let's run with it. We got to inform our residents, and you guys, awesome job. But that's the kind of team where I could say to them, I got this idea, and they run with it, and they do it well. So one of the things I just wanted to mention was, it still can get frustrating, though, when I still hear people say, I didn't know about that. So please, if you have any other thoughts on how we can inform all of you, please let us know that, because we think we're doing everything possible, social media and the newspapers and la 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 la, and yet to still hear a lot of people go, oh, I didn't know about that, can get very frustrating, because that's not what we want to hear. We want to hear the opposite. So if you think of any other way we could get the word out on things, I know they would all like to hear that. I would like to hear that. The board would like to hear that. So. Right. Yep, the newsletter, social media, I mean, we have a list a mile long, but again, you know, it's not just this community, it's every town I've worked in. You always hear that and you're like, I don't know what else we could do. So, but if you have any thoughts, you know, you just gotta say something. And I know Randy said it, but I'll say it, without our volunteers, this town does not exist and look the way it does or feel the way it does. So to all of you who are volunteers, thank you more than you know. And for those who might be interested, then get in touch with one of us and we'll find a way to put you to work. You know, you're not retired here, that's for sure. So that's all I had to say. But these guys, awesome job. Awesome job, everything they do. So thank you for coming this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you, Bonnie. I just, again, want to open the floor if there are any more questions or anything we can add. Our business cards are located at the front, as is a calendar for the remaining symposium. We'd love to have you attend the rest. Otherwise, I just want to thank you. I know it's just so nice to spend time with people that love Southport. So thank you, and we'll see you next month.
We have also looked into contracting carrier pigeons, so